I guess who has a sinus infection? Couldn't be me. Oh, I'm getting over it. It's pretty much the same thing as having one.
We have a dying man on the premises.
Where?
You. Dude, did I tell you about the body or the dead person?
No, you said you were going to save that for the podcast. And I know that that's what you were saving for the podcast because I saw your Facebook post or your a Snapchat story. I don't know. Hey, welcome to the Two Pad We Didn't Get Into Cars podcast. I'm Nick Scarpinato. This is our lovely co-host, Vanessa.
And I am David Kabushikars.
Yeah, and we are joined with
2019 Ford Mustang.
And a story about a dead body that David has been holding on to for what feels like weeks. So, David, fucking let her rip.
It has been weeks. It was like the first job of the day. I was with my coach. And we're looking at the dish.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, like a covered body on a stretcher is rolled out of the apartment next door with a priest. And he was like, bless you all. I was like.
To you?
Yeah, to both of us. And I was like, oh my God. Bro, that's a body right there.
What the hell?
And we went inside and talked to the guy who was like, hey, did you know like someone was like died next door? And he was like, oh man, I didn't know that happened already.
Already? What the fuck?
I guess the neighbor was sick already.
Jesus.
And yeah. And then there was another a couple of days ago I went up onto a roof and there was just like a revolver in the gutter.
Someone tried to get rid of that.
I was like, bro, it's never a not interesting day at Dish, let me tell you.
Which I mean is a good thing, I guess. I'm gonna.
There's a lot of characters out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a lot less interesting stories at the bakery that aren't as interesting as David. So I'm not even gonna bother. But you know, you've had an interesting couple of weeks, because this guy went to a bachelor party.
I went to my first bachelor party.
You went to your first bachelor party at your first B&B or Airbnb.
In Three Oaks, Michigan.
How was Michigan this time of year?
It was fine, I guess.
Yeah? Was it hot?
Not really.
Yeah, up north.
No, because it was like 90 the whole week here. And then for the weekend, it went down to like 75.
Great. Yeah, and you were there for the weekend, so I'm sure you enjoyed that. While we suffered here in hell!
Yeah, it was very nice.
I shouldn't be screaming.
It was very nice.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was very nice. Meanwhile,
I drunk called a lot of people. Everyone.
Yeah,
everyone
me.
who wasn't at the party, I called.
Including me. And I think
you were the last one, actually.
I was the last one?
Well, because I called you once and then you didn't answer, so I called again later.
Well, so I was sleeping when he called me the first time. And I feel like I remember you calling and then your call waking me up and then me picking up the phone to answer, and then it was you. So I feel like I might have been misremembering that a little bit. Don't mind me. But yeah, man, it was very sweet. It was very it was very open and honest, and you know, he revealed some very revealing information, like security numbers, social security numbers that weren't yours. And you told me, you opened the phone call by saying, Nick, fuck you, write this down. And I said, I'm on it. And then I proceeded not to write any of them down because, you know, this happens everyone's first time drinking. You see numbers in your head and they're all social security numbers, and you're compelled to write them down and call people to write them down. That's why you had to call everybody, was because you were like, I see so many numbers, the numbers, and it was terrifying. I'm sure it was only more terrifying for you than it was for me.
Yeah, it's like I couldn't give all the numbers to the one person, so I had to call everyone.
Yeah, I just happened to be the last one and you had more. It was like at the end of the night for Santa, you know, and he's like, I thought I delivered all of these, but this is the last house, and I have like a ton of presents left. So you just give all of the presents to the last kid. That's why it's always lucky to be the last kid on Christmas, because the last kid, say it with me, folks, gets all the extra gifts.
I was going to say extra shit.
Don't make me laugh too hard. I'm gonna.
Oh my god.
It's fine. It's fine. I just have to breathe through some of these coughing fits.
Bro, speaking of people dying, bro, we're talking about a horror movie today.
Yeah, we're talking about a horror movie. We are, and I don't even know if this is in bad taste, but we kind of wanted to take today, because we haven't officially formally done it yet, to address the passing of one of our favorite musicians, like drummers, aside, like one of our favorite musicians ever, Mr. Taylor Hawkins of the Foo Fighters. So we're taking today to make each of our topics kind of related to the Foo Fighters in some way. And we're starting with their more recent endeavor, the movie Studio 666, which came out, I don't know how many months ago. Was that a winter thing? Was that like?
It was like in February or something.
It must have been.
Was it
February.
like the first week of February or something?
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that first, and then we're gonna take some time to talk about the actual Foo Fighters, the band, and what their music meant and means to us, and our sort of personal journeys. I'm not rocking the Foo Fighters merch, but as you can see,
I got it covered today.
David's got it covered, and then we're gonna end with semi Foo Fighters related, our journeys with the Guitar Hero franchise. They haven't gotten their own game, but it was the first time that I really memorized one of their songs, and we have plenty of Guitar Hero stories. Yeah, man, I think we should just get into it, because I've been watching a lot of what have I been watching a lot of? I've been watching a lot of Barry recently, which is a really cool, suspenseful show. I watched this show on Funimation called not Angels and Demons. I forget. Angels of Death, which is based on
Angel of Death. Monokinetic King of the Dead. Sadistic. Surgery with no anesthesia. Blah, 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 blah. It's a Slayer song. Look out for my Slayer ranking. That's next.
That sounded like your little ba 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 sounded like a thing that Donkey does. It's like ba 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 ba. One of these days we're gonna talk about Donkey too, but today is not that day. Today, yeah. So I've been watching a lot of suspenseful things, shows, movies, etc., and I think honestly, as far as suspense and thrills and horror and things like that go, a lot of things that I've seen do it better than Studio.
God, it's really loud.
You want to tell me what the fuck that was?
It's the Bay alarm. Told you.
Michael? I'm not gonna. I made that same joke earlier.
Michael?
I'm an asshole. But would you agree that Studio 666? First of all, to describe it, it's a horror movie starring the Foo Fighters, semi based on their experiences recording Medicine at Midnight, where they recorded in what seemed like a haunted house. And I know Dave made a big deal about Dave Grohl, lead singer and guitarist, made a big deal in interviews about mentioning how there were weird things happening at the house while they were recording. And they put a movie in production, and they made the movie, and it's supposed to be this supernatural thriller kind of slasher movie where there's 6 members of the band. Not everyone's gonna survive, so there's some creative kills here and there, but it's like a possession movie mixed with a musical biopic, mixed with a YouTube sketch, mixed with a semi-musical. And honestly, I think out of all of the thriller and horror movies and shows and things that I've seen, even video games, this one does it like the least well. I don't know how to describe it. I'm gonna let you go first. You go first.
It's
man.
A massive cheese fest. Like, yeah. Have you seen any Foo Fighters music video? It's like,
yeah.
You look at the one for Walk,
Yeah, where
it's like totally goofy the whole time.
Or like Learn to Fly, where they get Tenacious D to play
Yeah.
like people on the plane, you know.
Yeah, it's just the Foo Fighters doing what they do. And just making some goofy shit, but it's a movie now.
Right. And I guess that's the charm, right? Like if you're a Foo Fighters fan like we are, if you're a fan of horror movies like we are, it's kind of going to be right up your alley, but I feel like
obviously, you know, Pat Smear isn't Marlon Brando over here. But you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Pat, man. That was I think the band member that puts on the most believable performance, I think it was Nate. I think I really liked Nate's performance in the movie. None of them are actors, you know? So like when they have to memorize lines and
ironically,
like
because they have a song called Stacked Actors.
They do. But I don't know. I feel like for the most part there's always either too much going on or there's not enough going on. Like I know there's a part in the middle where it seems like it kind of slows down and drags a little bit, and like I go back and I watch clips, like isolated clips from the movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, like when Dave comes out of the basement for the first time after like learning of this old secret recording from a band in the 70s, and they like did some satanic stuff and blah blah blah, and Dave comes out of the basement and Pat's there eating Doritos, you know. And then, like, Dave knocks the Doritos out of his hands and steps on them. And Pat's like, what the hell, man? I don't know. Like, that was funny, like, out of context. But it's just, like, some of the comedic moments in the context of the movie don't land. And, like, some of the horror things don't land for me. So it's, like, it is a cheese fest. It entirely depends on, like, how much you like the personality of the Foo Fighters, you know? Because if you're going into it as someone who's not a fan, I don't know. Maybe you'll like it more. Maybe you'll think it's really bad. But hello. We just heard a high pitched ringing. Is that our collective tinnitus? Is that our tinnitus happening at the same time?
Is that our tinnitus D?
My God. One day we're gonna do tinnitus D. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, what did you think about the horror elements? Because like they definitely try to inject some scary bits and some like, you know, cinematography reminiscent of a lot of older horror films like POV, kind of like Evil Dead. You know, what do you think? Was it effective?
I mean, no, but also I don't get scared from movies, like whatsoever. There's not one movie out there that like scares me. Not one. What was it? The Ethan Hawke one.
Oh, Sinister?
Sinister.
Yep.
Freaked me out.
I was just seeing some Instagram post about how Sinister is one of those movies that like stays with you after it's over.
Like if you've seen it, the lawnmower scene.
Yeah, that was the scene that popped up on my Instagram feed.
And there's one scene where they're setting a car on fire. And there's this really weird soundtrack. It's like backwards or something.
Yeah.
Super creepy. We're getting off topic.
Yeah, go watch Sinister. But
point is being, I'm not the person to talk about horror, like scares, because nothing scares me in movies.
Yeah.
But I had fun with it. But honestly, the best thing to come out of this movie was the soundtrack.
Yeah.
The Dream Widow like EP that came with it, like slays.
Yeah,
actually slays.
Really good. And it's only like half an hour. It's like 8 songs, and like Dave Grohl apparently recorded all of the instruments by himself, which is nuts because there's some really insane guitar stuff happening. Because it's like a metal album. Like it's not like a traditional Foo Fighters like rock album. Yeah,
it ends with like a really long instrumental piece.
Yeah,
which Dave Grohl in the movie was like, "We're gonna make 2112 times 2112," which I appreciated that joke.
Yeah. There were some jokes in there because you can tell, like, I feel like as far as the humor goes, which is a totally separate topic, which I know we can both talk about because we're both funny guys. I crack myself up. But some of the humor, you can tell, was like an improvisational, encouraged scene where the director, whoever, I don't even know who directed it, but they were like, to the band, I don't know, just let loose, just be you. And the other actors in the scene, like the actual comedic, I know Jeff Garlin is in the movie. I think it's Jeff Garlin. And then Whitney Cummings is also in the movie, and she plays like the neighbor. And so like these are actors that have like comedic chops and histories and stuff. And they have to work alongside the Foo Fighters in these like cheesy, like sometimes improv bits where like you can tell the rest of the band isn't really comfortable improvising except for like Dave. So like they turn to someone like Rami and he has to do some like funny reaction. And I don't know, it just comes off so like cringy. No, I mean the funniest scene to me, I laughed out loud for several minutes, was they were recording the song, and like slowly over the course of the movie, Dave is like hell-bent on, you know, recording this really long song, and they keep recording it and re-recording and adding on to it, and everyone's getting frustrated, and it's like at the end of a rehearsal session, and I think Chris Shiflett, the lead guitarist, tries to like calm everyone down, and he turns to everyone and he's like, all right, let's take 5, let's come at this again. And then they all start walking away, and Taylor Hawkins, he's like, fuck you, Schiff, you can't tell me what to do. And there's just something really funny about his delivery that had me laughing because I was just not expecting it. But yeah, and then I would say like the best part of the movie, like the best section of the movie is the end, like by far. Yeah, just the there was a whole like montage where they're talking about how like Dave has been acting recently, you know, and he's like full on possessed, and it cuts back and forth between like, what is he making a sandwich in one of them? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, the comedic bits and the horror bits, and like it turns into a movie less concerned with trying to scare you and more concerned with like, I don't know, we have a demon on screen now, so let's like get really gory and bloody and like have chase scenes and stuff like that. And Pat and Nate, I think they're the last ones to survive. Which is really funny watching them like run away from a possessed Dave and blah blah blah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it kind of drops the ball a couple of times in those like regards as far as like being effectively scary or funny, but that's kind of a must watch if you're a Foo Fighters fan, cause tragically I think it's the last thing that they're gonna do like as a band, or like last thing that they're gonna release as a band.
Yeah.
Which is like super sad, but at the same time, I don't know, it's kind of a testament to like them just doing what they wanted, because like they had reached a point in their careers where they could really do whatever they wanted to do and experiment with. And I'm sure the conversation was like, well, I mean, we've done everything. We've recorded to tape. We've recorded songs in different cities at different studios, and like, I don't know, man, we played all these shows across the country, and let's make a movie, you know? And it's like one of those fun decisions. It's like kind of like what we were talking about with Def Leppard. It's like you get to a certain point creatively where you're like, fuck it, let's do this. And in this case, it was fuck it, let's make a movie. And you gotta applaud them for that. So like, as a Foo Fighters fan, definitely at least rent it. But yeah, man, I don't know, I feel shitty because I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on this movie. It's also, I haven't seen it in a really long time, but it's like the only Foo Fighters movie that we can really talk about, because the other things that they filmed have been either music videos or like biographies. You know, they did or documentaries, I guess, documentaries, because there's the Back and Forth, which is probably definitely biased, my favorite documentary, like band documentary of all time, because it leads up to like Wasting Light, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. And bless you. And then they did Sonic Highways, which I haven't been able to watch. Is it on HBO Max?
Honestly, I don't know.
Fuck, man, I have HBO Max now, so I should see if Sonic Highways is there, because I haven't seen Sonic Highways. And then they have another one where Dave did a documentary about, which studio was it? Fuck, man, I forget. But there was a studio that was like shutting down, and so he was like, "What? I don't want this to shut down before I give it its proper farewell. It wasn't Studio 606, because that's where they do all of their stuff and their recording and things. I'm useless. I'm a bad fan.
Whatever. There's a documentary about a studio.
There's a documentary about a studio. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any more to say about Studio 666?
I mean, not really. I mean, it is a rented, but I'll probably buy it at some point.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think if there was a steelbook, I'd probably buy it just for the memorabilia of it.
Because, like you said, it's assuming that it is like the last hurrah.
Yeah,
even though it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, that's the part that's the most tragic. I think is like, not even most tragic, but I don't know. It's one of those things where like you can't really anticipate, when someone's gonna be gone. So it's like the last thing that they worked on isn't always, like this big triumphant thing. But I guess it makes it more special that it's like the last thing. So I don't know. And I'm glad that we got to both at least see them once, which I guess kind of flows into the next, topic of discussion, which is the band themselves, which I think is going to make up a bulk of this episode probably, because kind of like with Def Leppard, maybe like starting a little later in our lives, they've always kind of been there. The Foo Fighters have always kind of been there. Mostly because they've been on like modern rock radio and in commercials and like on SNL and shit. Whereas like Def Leppard was really only on like the radio stations that our parents listened to. And like, they were like CDs and albums that like we found at discounted and stuff. Whereas like Foo Fighters had like new albums.
I don't know, bro. Like I just heard like a YouTube ad that they remixed Pour Some Sugar on Me. So I feel like Def Leppard's kind of everywhere too.
Yeah. I just remember after I started listening to the Foo Fighters and like I watched their documentary, like unlike Def Leppard, who had been around for a lot longer, I feel like the Foo Fighters had the benefit of like being like the rock band, like at award shows and stuff. Dave talks about this in Back and Forth, but he's like, we kind of became like the default rock band for a couple of years. So like award shows were like, we need a rock band to play. Fucking get the Foo Fighters. They have an album coming out or whatever. And they were like winning awards, and they were kind of like, when you see those billboards and it's like, oh, the best music. And it's like you see one pop artist, one rap artist, one like rock artist or whatever. Foo Fighters were always kind of like there. And they did a remix with Deadmau5, who was big in 2012. So it's like they've always, even if you didn't really listen to them like as a rock fan, like they were always kind of on your radar. Whether it was like you making fun of their dumb name, which the band always does, and I find that hilarious. Or if like you were a fan of Nirvana or whatever. Speaking of Nirvana, I don't know. I feel like we admire Dave Grohl for different reasons, which is another one of those like Origami Angel things where it's kind of like a match made in heaven, where like, Origami Angel, they have insane like metal drum grooves and stuff like that. But they also have like references to Pokemon and blah, 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 and like cool melodic lines and things like that. Foo Fighters is kind of the same thing. Cause like I was drawn to the Foo Fighters because of their catchy melodies and the screaming and everything like that. And I'm sure, one of the first things you really listened to were like the drums, and you kind of knew Dave Grohl as the drummer of like Smells Like Teen Spirit. I don't know. Like, tell me about like the first time you really like started honing in on the Foo Fighters.
I don't remember exactly when. It just kind of happened. But it was after Wasting Light.
Okay.
Pretty much immediately after that album came out.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching the Grammys and being really mad that it didn't win.
Yeah. Well, because I think that was the one of, if not the first time that they had an album I think it was nominated for Album of the Year.
Or something.
Something like that. Some big award that it didn't win. But, yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, like Learn to Fly and like Everlong and Best of You and like The Pretender, they all came out like while we were growing up. And I remember our friend Josh, I have a very specific memory of us walking past the Oak Forest High School and he had his iPod and he was playing music for me. And like we were listening to other popular rock artists at the time. So there was like Red Hot Chili Peppers and he showed me a little bit of Trivium and blah, blah, blah. But he also showed me The Pretender by the Foo Fighters. And I was like, oh, you got Foo Fighters on here? Because I'd heard the name before. And he was like, yeah, I think this is the only song. This is like the only song I like, this one and like this one. And he showed me Everlong. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then at some point, I might have mentioned this on the podcast, but the way that I found my way to Foo Fighters was I was sick of listening to 80s hair metal and classic rock bands. And I was at a point in my life where I was just trying to listen to as much as I could. And I was legally downloading all of their discographies to my parents' computer and then not listening to them. So I had all of Aerosmith's discography. That's a different that's a different collection of music, if you know what I mean. And I like Aerosmith's and like Black Sabbath, I think I had the discography for. And I just wasn't listening to them. And I realized it might have been because like a lot of these older bands started to like run out of steam, you know, naturally into like the 2010s or whatever. So I Googled, what are the top rock bands of like modern rock bands, you know? And one name came up on all of these lists, Foo Fighters. And I thought, I think I've heard of them before. And I started looking up their top songs and I downloaded all of their discography, which at the time was only up until Echo, Silence, Patience, and Grace. And I listened to all of the singles. So I listened to like My Hero and Everlong and Monkey Wrench, which I had known from like Guitar Hero 2. And I really liked them. And then they announced that Wasting Light was coming out. And I remember going to Best Buy with my mom because I wanted to get the album. And I saw it on this display rack in the front of the store. And it was for Father's Day. And it was like gifts that Dad will like. And I remember on the record, like on the CD over the plastic, there was a sticker that said like, please play at max volume. And I was like, that's really cool. And I bought it and I played it and it became a really formative experience for me.
At max volume?
At max volume.
Nice.
What does that mean?
It doesn't, no, just because it told you to play at max volume.
Oh, I thought you were going to scream into the microphone.
Just like, System of a Down had an album called Steal This Album. It's like, did you steal it?
Oh, that's right.
If you bought it, you're doing it wrong.
So yeah, and I played the hell out of that CD. I loved Wasting Light, and I that was the moment. Like I guess it wasn't a singular moment, but it was that was the album that really made me feel like I had found an artist, like a band that I could like resonate with. And then it was only a matter of time before they were the only thing that I listened to. There it is again. There's our tinnitus. I don't know if you can hear. I don't think you can hear that, but it kind of sounds like.
Kind of sounds like.
Yeah, kind of like that. So, yeah, man, and then it was just kind of downhill from there. I guess downhill in a good way. Like when you're riding a bike, it's easier to ride a bike downhill than uphill. So you're not falling to your doom. You're just like, whoa, this is fun. So it was all downhill. To this day, I think they're my favorite like band of all time. And you've talked on the podcast before about how sometimes your favorite thing will sit at the top no matter what, because it's just like objectively, you know that there are better things, but you know, so it's like I've tried to dance around that sort of my question of who's your favorite artist. And I'll say, well, my favorite band is the Foo Fighters, but my favorite artist, you know, and then I'll make it a separate person or thing. And that always changes, but the Foo Fighters are always going to be up there. Yeah, man, I got to see them live at Wrigley and you got to see them live at Wrigley.
I did.
But we saw them for two different tours. I got to see them for the Sonic Highways tour.
I saw them for the Concrete and Gold tour.
Yeah, which I didn't know on your keys. If you want to show that to the camera, you have a fucking Concrete and Gold keychain, which I had never seen before. which is the coolest keychain I think I've.
Fucking focus, motherfucker.
I don't think I've ever.
Foo Fighter, and it spins.
The hell was that?
It spins.
That was probably one of my most favorite concerts of all time, and I have a lot of memories from that concert, particularly because for Sonic Highways, I know they made it a point. Every big city that they went to, they made it a point to only bring on artists to open for them that were from that city. So in Chicago, I remember they had Cheap Trick open. They didn't have Local H because that was for Metallica. I don't remember who else they had alongside Cheap Trick. But seeing Cheap Trick was really fun because I liked seeing Surrender live. And they also did another song that I forget that I liked. Yeah, and then the Foo Fighters went on and it was just screaming for 2.5 hours at Wrigley Field. And I had all my like Cubs merch on because my family are like big Cubs fans. And it was really surreal. And that night also happens to be, I forget what the connection was. I think it was Dave Grohl's mom and his cousin, the same cousin, and he told this story on stage. It was the same cousin that took him to his very first show at the Cubby Bear in Chicago, his very first like punk show. And we all collectively sang happy birthday to both of them, which was awesome because he brought them on stage and we all sang happy birthday. And he was like, she took me to my very first fucking show at the Cubby Bear right across the street. And we were all like, yeah, the Cubby Bear. And I'd never been to the Cubby Bear before. But it's this really noteworthy bar downtown Chicago across from Wrigley, which is really cool. So, yeah, man. What about you? What about your Foo Fighters concert experience? Because where was it? Because it was also at Wrigley.
It was also at Wrigley.
Yeah. Do you remember who opened?
Oh, it was a band where the singer was trying to be Freddie Mercury. Your Body Talks. Body Talks is like the biggest song. I forget what they're called. And then before them, it was like some like Nirvana sounding like punk band.
That sounds about right.
But I can't remember what that band was called.
The song Body Talks. We're gonna figure this out
Here's an answer from Wikipedia. Body Talk is a song by American band The Deal.
The Deal?
Not The Deal. No. Hang on.
David's gonna pull that up.
I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I honestly think I had a really good time despite Sonic Highways being my least favorite Foo Fighters album. I went all out for that. I went all out for that like album release because I got a media package that came with that wall flag, the Sonic Highways, which I will argue
The Struts.
That's
That's what they're called. And the other one was Milk Belly.
Milk Belly?
Milk
like
Belly.
like the way that I used to say milk?
Yeah, Milk
Belly. I don't like that.
Yeah, the really shitty thing about this is this concert is kind of tainted now.
Why's that?
Because I saw it with a particular someone.
Oh.
Which sucks, but still,
It's still a big deal. It's still kind of a fun. Well, so we kind of talked about our favorite Foo Fighters album. Both of us have done rankings of our favorite albums. David helped me with a video series that I did when I got back on YouTube in 2020, or was it 2019? I think it was February of 2020.
Yeah.
I started a video series called Happy Foo Year because we were both under the impression that the Foo Fighters were about to release an album. And then the funniest thing happened, to quote Bo Burnham. And that video series took like a year to finish when I told myself it was going to take like a couple months. And I looked at every Foo Fighters album and I did a cover from a song from each album, a lot of which David helped me out with either editing or like playing drums or acting in the videos when we started doing like music videos for them. And so our lists look a little different.
And still waiting on both Arrows and Stacked Actors.
Yeah, because Arrows, I don't know what happened with Arrows. I don't know why we didn't edit the video. I think I was just being a pain in the ass, and I was like, this song has to get out and into the world. And then Stacked Actors, we recorded, David recorded drums for Taylor when that news broke, and I still haven't recorded anything for it. But we got some Foo Fighters footage and things that I'm sitting on. But
yeah, I think we are pretty similar in that like One by One and Sonic Highways are like on the bottom.
Yeah,
and then up top we have Wasting Light, Color and the Shape, and Nothing Left to Lose.
Yeah, and then the
middle gets a little hazy, but
There Is Nothing Left to Lose is one of the Foo Fighters albums that I have on vinyl. Color and the Shape is the other one, thanks to David. And man, I don't know. I am just so grateful to the Foo Fighters to not only have given me a chance to tap back into that creative, because like if I hadn't have started back on YouTube with you, I don't think I would have been as creatively stimulated throughout the pandemic, because I was making content from my bedroom with a bunch of gear that I had bought to better my creative endeavors. And I got my computer and the interface that we're recording this podcast on now, and this microphone that I'm recording, and my camera that I'm filming David on, and like, these things that beautiful. And going back and getting to watch that series as it progresses, I don't know, it just makes me feel really, really proud of the work that we did, and very happy and grateful to the Foo Fighters to have been the catalyst for that sort of growth. And then Medicine at Midnight came out, and I think our opinions differ most when it comes to that album, honestly, because I hardly ever go back and listen to that album. There are some songs on it that I enjoy particularly, but for the most part, it just kind of coasts along very, very easily. And I think you really liked that when it came out.
I think it's a fun album.
Yeah.
I still like it.
Definitely fun. But I remember that was a big deal when like the Foo Fighters came out with Medicine at Midnight, because it was like they were one of those artists that had planned to put out music before the pandemic happened, and then the pandemic happened, and then we all had to adjust in a lot of different ways, and musicians are not exempt from that. And they
because usually I hate one, like the first single is my favorite song in the album.
Yeah.
And in this case, the lead single was my least favorite song in the album.
Yeah. So was that Shame Shame?
Yeah. That worked out nicely. It's like the complete opposite of that.
Right. And like Shame Shame, by no means is it like a bad song, but I don't know. I think the same thing happened with that song that happened with Something from Nothing and Concrete, or Sonic Highways in general, where I liked it a lot more the first time that I listened to it, because I was a little biased and I was like, I like the Foo Fighters. This is a good song. When really it was like very forgettable, and but that's the artist bias,
Yeah, but shit, dude. And now the fact that Love Dies Young is like probably the last song now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of fitting.
Yeah, and Love Dies Young was actually the song that we did a cover of. And it was like, it was really hard to pick a song from that album to do, but I was like, that one fits really well. And the montage at the end of the video that we did meant a lot to me. So like, obviously, like the Foo Fighters, whatever they end up doing, in light of Taylor Hawkins passing, I'm always going to support them, and I'm going to be supportive of them no matter what. I'm glad that we both had the opportunity to see them at all, and they have been around for a lot of like big growths as musicians, creative growths and stuff, as artists for the both of us. And I still play their songs live at shows, and and I'm sure we both listen to them just as much as we ever did.
Yeah, I'm just mad that we can't go to this concert.
Which is the reason why we wanted to bring up the Foo Fighters today.
Yeah, because I don't think we mentioned it, but like the Kia Forum in like LA, the cheapest ticket is $414.
Yeah, so the show that the Foo Fighters and the Hawkins family are putting on to remember Taylor, and they're bringing all their musician friends. Like, they're bringing Rush.
The lineup, bro.
The lineup is insane.
Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson. They got the Queen coming. They got Stuart Copeland.
You got Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers. You got...
It's like, what are they just going to show? Are they like playing like a set? You know, it's like, what is that even going to be? Or are they just going to like say some things, you know?
You know what? At the very least, you know what's going to happen? They're going to film it. They're going to film it and they're going to like release it, you know, as a concert video. And then they're going to like send all the proceeds to Taylor's family, you know, something like that. I can guarantee that's going to be something that they do.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, so it's like the only way that we're going to be able to go is getting like scalper tickets like close to the event, but they sold out in like probably minutes, you know, because like I hadn't checked the tickets when they were still available, but we had talked about like going to LA and seeing the one at the Forum, and you know that's not going to happen. It sucks a lot because like, you know, it's a band that means a lot to both of us. And obviously, like, we would kill to be there. But, you know, it's just one of those things where, like, you know, we're going to be there in spirit. Or we're actually going to be there if we could literally kill someone and get 2 tickets.
Yo, government, where's that 4th stimmy, bro? Me and Nick trying to go see Foo Fighters.
Yeah, where's that Hawkins stimmy? So, you know, I like... Definitely... You know, they're going to go down in history no matter what they end up doing next. If they break up after the show or if they stay together and, like, you know, Dave just drums for the shows and they get, like, a touring drummer or whatever. I'm still going to support them no matter what. But it's a shame, man. Gone too soon, for sure. But that just goes to show, like, I don't know, the last artist that happens to for me where it was, like, fuck, man, like I'm never gonna be able to see them again, was when Chester Bennington passed away from Linkin Park. And I know Linkin Park isn't like your jam, but like similar to the way that like Taylor's death kind of affected the way that I thought about, like, I don't know, what opportunities do I have? I was like, I've never seen Linkin Park and now I'll never get to, and it was like, you couldn't even say like, oh yeah, they haven't been touring for years because like this one artist, you know, this one member of the band had been hospitalized or whatever. It was like, no, it was just out of the blue. Like I think the Foo Fighters had a festival show that they had to play like the day that, you know, Taylor passed.
Yeah, that's when they found him. When
yeah,
they were supposed to like go on the stage or something.
Which is, yeah, man.
I think that's why it hit so hard, like more than Neil did for me.
Yeah,
because when Neil went. Like, Rush was already done.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of like, oh, it really sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, it was already over.
Yeah.
Where Taylor, like, that probably killed the band, which is even worse.
Yeah, I mean, because, like, from the sounds of it, you know, like a year ago or whatever, Dave Grohl was like, yeah, I'm probably going to do this until I die. Like, I'm going to do music and tour, and, you know, this band is going to be together for as long as I can have them stay together, and, you know, now...
Could you imagine how Dave felt?
No, I can't imagine how he
like,
still
bro,
feels.
Like, first Kurt happened,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, with Nirvana.
And then, like, he like, quit music for a while, and then he started Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
And then, like, Taylor, his other brother,
yeah,
now gone.
And it's like, I saw a really disturbing parallel where it was like, on this tour, like the last show that they played, I think Dave made a point to... they were doing a Queen song, and Dave got behind the drums, and Taylor got up front to sing. And Dave went on this whole monologue, and like Taylor, they exchanged words together, and Dave was like, I have the best fucking singer in the whole world. And Taylor turned back to him, and he was like, well, I got the best fucking drummer in the whole world. And like, this is like crazy. And then like the day after, you know, fucking... everything changed, and you know, then I saw someone make a comment on that video from like the last show ever, and they were like, "Fuck, man, Dave in 2 different bands has lost his singer," and it's like that fucking blows. It makes you really, really, stop to think. Like, I don't know. It's like I never knew Taylor, and I will never know any of the members of the Foo Fighters, but like, I don't know. It's like you grow up with them, or they grow alongside you, and they see all of these like personal changes in you as a person, and you watch these documentaries, and you're like, oh yeah, like these people, like I feel like I know them, and I listen to their music, and I feel like I know them through their music, and then they're just fucking gone, and it's like that sucks a lot. So, as much as I'd like to go to this mass memorial service, like for the public, which essentially this concert's going to be, like I'm sure each of these musician friends are going to get on stage and say a little something about Taylor. And it's like, yeah, as much as I'd like to be there, the reality is I don't think I'll be able to. But, enough harping on that. I think, I want to celebrate his life and the music of the Foo Fighters and the music of Taylor too. Like Taylor had his band, the Taylor Hawkins and the Coattail Riders. I listened to a couple of songs of theirs, and I found a couple that I really liked, and he was kind of everywhere. He was the drummer for Alanis Morissette, like right before he joined the Foo Fighters, and so he was doing shows with her, and just very prolific musician. Yeah, man, we both posted something like when we found out. I think I did a cover of "Ain't It the Life," which is the first studio album that Taylor like drummed on, and you did you do a drum cover of "Run"?
I did, but that was like years ago.
Yeah,
I just re-uploaded it.
Yeah, so like, I don't know, it's one of those things. But like I'm still gonna be playing their music for the rest of my life, and now I get to celebrate Taylor's life along with that. So Foo Fighters, Dave, Pat, Chris, Rami.
I think that's all of them.
Yeah, and Taylor, if you're watching, thank you for everything from both of us, because like y'all are awesome, and your music is fucking cool, and you're great guys, and we'll see you again someday, I'm sure. But until then, we're just gonna keep playing your music and trying to be like you. So, speaking of trying to be like musicians.
Speaking of playing music,
yeah,
Nick, I have a question for you.
Oh my God, what is it? What do you want?
Dean Slash from Guns N' Roses recently welcomed you to the jungle of underachievement. Have you recently repeatedly been beaten by a bunch of rock-playing pixels in Guitar Hero 3?
No. Not recently. Hey, we're talking Guitar Hero. We're talking.
Have you recently been schooled in the ways of Wiki 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 by a cartoon version of Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine? And I'm here to stage an intervention, or at least give you a pep talk. Just remember that your favorite video game characters will probably suck at the video game version of your job. Tom Morello can rage against the machine all he wants, but do you think he can sit through a Monday morning staff meeting without looking like he's going to fall asleep? I think not. The Rolling Stones painted black on Guitar Hero 3. But if we were playing Painter and Decorator Hero 3, I wouldn't rate their chances quite so highly. Okay, I could quote that entire video.
Jesus, man.
I'm gonna stop there.
Yeah, that's
I still say I wouldn't rate your chances quite so highly all the time.
To this day, it's a very regular quote for you.
God damn.
Yeah, man, Guitar Hero. That's a franchise that we haven't really talked about. That has like, because we were trying to think of like game topics to bring up, and like we realized, silly realization that isn't true. But like it feels like we're not running out of games. We're just.
It's a music themed episode. We're
Yeah.
talking Foo Fighters and we're talking guitar because Foo Fighters are in Guitar Hero.
Yeah, because I was like trying to think of a game series or single game that we could do today, and Guitar Hero popped up because of the musical aspect of today's episode, but also because kind of working backwards a little bit. one of the first ways that I was introduced to the Foo Fighters was through Guitar Hero 2, which was my first Guitar Hero game, because I couldn't find Guitar Hero 3, and that was the next best thing. And one of the first songs that you play in that game, I think it's the second stage, is Monkey Wrench by the Foo Fighters from Color in the Shape. I almost did the Echo Silence Patience and Grace thing with colors and shapes and numbers and letters. It's the lullaby edition. I don't know. It was a cover of Monkey Wrench, so I didn't even get the full experience, but
Yeah, there were like 90% of these songs in the first 3 games were covers.
Yeah.
Because they had no budget until 3 came out. After 3,
yeah,
everything was original because that shit exploded.
it blew up, guys. Like, I don't know if anyone younger than like 20 is gonna fully understand the grasp that Guitar Hero and specifically music peripheral games had on the gaming market in like 2008. But holy shit. It started with Guitar Hero, and then we got Rock Band, and then we got DJ Hero, and then we got Rocksmith, and then we got like
Band Hero,
yeah. And then we got these other games. I think the Taiko Drum one from Japan came out before Guitar Hero, but still, like the Donkey Konga game with the peripheral like bongos. It was like once Guitar Hero came out and like really popularized using play instruments to do real instrument stuff, it was over, man. And then that was all that games could think about for a while. And technically, I think Dance Dance Revolution was one of the first like rhythm games to really do something like that, where it was like button for like the note. But in Guitar Hero, it's all guitar music, so it was like you could capture the interest, bless you, of like the old fucking dad farts, you know, that like didn't really like video games because they're like, oh man, this Kansas was big when I was a kid. So like you could play Carry On My Wayward Son in this.
it's literally a South Park episode.
Yeah, it's that's right. I didn't make
Randy
that
even
connection.
plays Carry On My Wayward Son.
Yeah, and wasn't that your ringtone for someone for a while?
I was so never higher. Yes. That
Yeah.
was like one of my first custom ringtones.
What was our first introduction? I think we had the same introduction to Guitar Hero 3, because I hadn't ever played it prior to Mr. Grace's class in, what was it, 6th grade? Yeah, that was 2008.
Yeah.
There was a Guitar Hero competition that we were basically forced to play. And I don't know if either of us had a whole lot of time with Guitar Hero before that.
No.
I want to recall our separate experiences because we were in the same tournament. I don't know what class that was for. But it was during finals week, I think, or like midterms or whatever. And we had finished our tests. So like the rest of the week for the classes that you already like finished the tests for, those like periods, the classes that you went to were always for a different teacher. And they always had a different activity plan. So the choir director, Mr. Grace, he had a Guitar Hero competition. And I purposefully lost because I was preemptively shooting myself in the foot for fear of getting made fun of for being bad at the game anyway. So I get up there and I slump up, and I think, did you go up against Jessica, or was it me?
I don't know who I played against.
Okay, it was
but
definitely
I think it was
me
you
then. Yeah, because I went up against a girl named Jessica, a popular, pretty girl. And I was like, oh, all of the popular like guys, the sports guys, are going to be rooting for her, and they're probably going to start saying shit like, boo, you suck, And so I flipped the guitar wrong, so I was like playing it like a lefty, and I also wasn't, I think in my head I knew what I was supposed to do, but I didn't do it. So I just failed within the first like 10 seconds of the song starting. And then I, like slumped back away to my seat. That was my experience, and it was not a good one. Do you remember if yours was any better? Like, do you remember doing any better than that? Probably.
I remember the first time I played Rock Band, but not Guitar Hero.
Oh.
Because Rock Band came later.
'Cause
But I think it was just our good old friend Jeremy
Yeah.
who showed me the game. And my God, there is no game in the universe that rivals the amount of time I put into the Guitar Heroes.
Yeah. I mean, because I think it was after that day that we played it in class that, I don't know. It was always like you would go to a friend's house and you would play Guitar Hero. In my case, it was David's because I didn't have my own way of playing Guitar Hero. And we played the shit out of some of those games. Like when did the Metallica come out? Because that was after that Death
was like
Magnetic.
2009.
Yeah. Like when Guitar Hero Metallica came out, it was over, man. Because you had the drums for like from Rock Band, I think, or like one of the Guitar Heroes. Or did someone else bring over the drums?
I think I had them.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
So we played the hell out of Guitar Hero Metallica because that was also around the time that we both started really listening to Metallica. And then I started going on a bender with my PS2 and I started buying every Guitar Hero that I could find. So I had Rock the 80s. I had World Hits.
World Tour.
Smash Hits.
Or
Yeah.
that one.
Smash Hits, World Tour. What was Guitar Hero 4? Because Guitar Hero 5 came out.
4 was just World Tour.
Okay.
It just wasn't called 4.
Yeah. I even got the original Guitar Hero, which had, I think, Paranoid on it. And Smash Hits just re-released songs from previous games, but like the actual versions.
Yeah, Smash Hits slapped.
Yeah, so I got to actually play Monkey Wrench sung by Dave, which was awesome. Yeah, dude, I think I think Guitar Hero taught me really bad guitar form on the neck that I haven't unfucked to this day. Like just like pressing my thumb behind the neck and like the way that my fingers bend and stuff like that. I think I just fucked myself a little bit by not learning actual guitar first. And I think that's a problem very unique to our generation. 'Cause like other generations didn't have to worry about that. And really still don't like this because it's only like I said, if you're under 20, I would say, I would even argue like if you're under 18, you probably weren't playing Guitar Hero like when it was really popular in like 2008 or whatever. But then like Rock Band came out and a lot of families had like the Rock Band games on Wii, and blah blah blah. And they're still putting out shit for Rock Band 4 to this day. They have Origami Angel songs in Rock Band 4 as DLC.
That's crazy.
Which is nuts, right? It's nuts. Officially licensed. They came out with like Olivia Rodrigo songs that you can buy on like Rock Band, and so like they're still developing songs and like things like that. But it's gotten to a point where people are also just like modding their own songs into, because I can't. What's the software that
Clone
you use?
Hero.
Yeah. So what's Clone Hero?
So Clone Hero is basically a PC version of Guitar Hero, but people can make their own songs, which is, you know, obviously like, because they have the entire Guitar Hero library and Rock Band. Every song that's ever been in those games, you can just download to that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have all these people doing songs, obviously, that they never done.
Right.
Like even some meme stuff. You know, the Greatest Freakout 4. Someone just charted that, and you can play it. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah. And we've played some of like the Dragon Ball Z Dokkan OSTs on Clone Hero, and like you downloaded a couple of Origami Angel songs and like songs that haven't been made into like official games yet. And it's like that was one of the first games that I realized, oh, you don't have to play by the rules. Like if they don't come out with a song in the game, you can just make your own. Like people make Pokemon mods all the fucking time, and it's like that was the other franchise that I was like, whoa, you can make Pokemon games? Like what? Yeah, man, I don't know.
I have a lot to say. I'm gonna go on a whole tangent about this series, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, really quick, what's your favorite Guitar Hero game?
Metallica. It's still
singular collection of songs.
Not even the songs, but like the engine itself. Like Smash Hits uses the same one. Like one or the other.
Yeah.
But like all the other ones, they either like there's like a different feel to them. I feel like Smash Hits and Metallica like perfected it. Because after that, like Guitar Hero 5, it started to like look and feel different.
Yeah.
And like before that, like up until like World Tour, and it was like a different feeling.
Yeah.
But that middle part, I think they perfected it.
I think I agree. I think if it's not Metallica, then I'm gonna have to say 3, just because I know it's like the popular vote. But like, it kind of redefined gaming for me in a lot of ways, because there were boss battles, there were like skins that you could use and characters you could unlock.
Yeah,
and
the cover for Devil Went Down to Georgia, like the metal one.
Yeah,
I still think that's one of the greatest covers of all time.
Yeah, man, and like the Tom Morello boss fight and the Slash boss fight, like people are still memeing like like I've seen people do that, like the and do like conversations between people. Yeah, dude, it was, and it's Through the Fire and Flames. Not even that it's an amazing song or anything, but that was like the hurdle. Like that was like, you'll see like nostalgic, centric YouTubers and people that make videos. Like the theory and the mythos behind like, could you beat Through the Fire and Flames? It was like our generation, like one of our generations, like, I don't know, can you beat Contra or whatever? It was like one of those gaming things that like would spread rumors around like the middle school lunch tables and shit like that. And it was like, this dude beat Through the Fire and Flames on 100%. And you're like, no fucking way. No goddamn way did you do that on 100%. Like, everyone had their own little ways of like, doing the hammer-offs and the pull-off, or the hammer-ons and pull-offs. And like, it was a big deal. Like, it was one of those like tests of like gamer resilience and like that's what separated the real gamers from like the casual ones, was Through the Fire and Flames. So like, I think just for memories alone and like sheer impact, I think I have to go with Guitar Hero 3.
I do remember it was Josh, because of fucking course it was Josh who showed me it, because I remember playing it on the controller first.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because you can, the first 3 games you can like just use the triggers and shit.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, I remember asking like, is it any easier with the real guitar? And they're like, no, it's easier with this because you have to strum with the real guitar too. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then when you get like tremolos, you gotta like, smash the hell out of that button.
Yeah.
Okay. God, I have so much to say.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. All right. Yeah, I started with Guitar Hero 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can like name a band, like make the band in like the career mode.
Yeah.
And the first one was the Damn Straights. that was the first band I was ever a part of, the Damn Straights.
The Damn Straights.
Like canonically.
That's a pretty good band.
Before Apathy and Damage Metal, it was the Damn Straights. And then after that, it was Rafflecopter.
Oh my god, Rafflecopter.
Dude, we even had a website.
I remember that.
There was like, it's gone now obviously, but there was like a site where you can just like make like a,
like forums and stuff.
Yeah, not a forum, but it was like a free site or whatever. And we made a Rafflecopter one. I actually think that was when I was introduced to Dale. Was when World Tour came out, because he had like the whole set and everything.
Oh shit!
And that's like when I started hanging out with him.
Shout out Dale.
Was Guitar Hero World Tour? I think that's crazy.
That is crazy to think about.
Yeah, and that was Rafflecopter GH. There's still videos on YouTube of this shit. we can't like.
Oh, I remember those. I remember those videos, because it was just footage of you playing and the screen was in the background, right? Like you filming yourselves playing.
Yeah, it was just a camera put in front of the screen. And you can hear like 14-year-old us talking about how Jeremy did the best out of all of us because he had the easiest part because he was playing bass. Oh, you think bass is so easy? Yeah, dude, I see that song like every time I play it. The exact lines. Anyway. Yeah, dude, Guitar Hero Metallica, my God, rivaled only with Gears 2 when that came out. Like, the most I played.
Well, because I know you've, like, 5-starred almost every song.
I play that game I had 3 copies of this game.
Why?
Because the first one broke because I picked up the 360 with the disc on, and it like scratched it up. I forgot what happened to the other one, but like the current one I played so goddamn much the disc is like completely scratched. Because you can like the way you rank up in the game is like you play a song and like or the concert and you get paid for the concert in game.
Yeah.
And like the highest rank was like $500,000.
Jeez.
Which you get like $100 for every song.
Yeah.
So you do the math. That's a lot of songs. Not only did I get up to that point, I actually got past it, and the game like reset. Like because rank 1 it's like $50 and then $100. Like very small increments, so you rank up really fast in the beginning.
Yeah.
Post level 30, it resets. Like it goes up every $50, every $100. So I'm ranked like 40 in Guitar Hero Metallica.
Jesus.
Which is ludicrous. I have like $1 million in that game. Absolutely fucking crazy. And it didn't slow down because then like Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock came out.
Oh my God, yeah.
That came with that Soundgarden album, which I gave to you.
Wasn't that technically Guitar Hero 6?
Maybe.
Warriors of Rock?
I think so. Because I don't think there's anything after 5 and between that and 5.
Yeah. Well, because Warriors of Rock, I think we picked up like when I moved to my new place in Midlothian and we went to the GameStop in Country Club Hills.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we got Warriors of Rock. Because that had a weird story mode in it where like I don't even know how to explain it. There was
like challenges or something.
Yeah, and there was like a story where you had to beat like a devil at the end and blah blah blah, and they had new characters. And...
Yeah, but still, I just play the fuck out of that. I don't even mention the Guitar Hero tournament, like not the school one. There's the library near our house hosted a tournament of like Guitar Hero 3.
Yeah.
And they ran it really poorly. Because it was based off points, like whoever had the most points. Mm-hmm. And my friend group, we all played on Expert.
Yeah.
So it was me, Dale, Jeremy, and Jason. And all 4 of us got the top 4 spots. And they gave us like McDonald's gift cards.
Yeah.
Like because we won. And I still remember because it was like the way we had to play the exact same song over and over again.
Sure.
So they were like, oh yeah, strum down and whatever you land on, that's what we're playing. And it landed on fucking Helicopter by Block Party.
Oh, yeah.
And that song still haunts my dreams, dude. Like, hearing that song for like 10 times straight. And I think like one song down was like a decent, like a good song.
Sure.
And they were like, oh, just go one song down. Like, no, you got to play Helicopter. And there was this fucking kid. This kid was in an Iron Maiden shirt.
Uh-huh.
And Number of the Beast is in Guitar Hero 3.
Yeah.
So, like... we tried to sneak in playing Number of the Beast, and that fucking kid in an Iron Maiden shirt was like, "You're playing the wrong song." Like, are you serious, bro?
Out of all people, you should have our back.
Exactly. Oh, you want to hear Helicopter for the 9th time straight instead of Number of the Beast?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, we're going to find... Hopefully, if you are watching, we officially challenge you to another Guitar Hero competition, and we're playing Number of the Beast. All of us are playing Number of the Beast. So get ready, get your fingers ready. Probably by the time you even see this, it'll be like 10 years later, when both of us are, flipping famous, and then teens in like 2042 will be like, hey, did you know that Nick Scarpinato and David Capuchiars had a podcast together? And you're like, the famous fucking musician and the famous musician. I don't know, man. What do you want to be famous for? Like, what's the number one thing you want to be famous for?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I want to be the guy who. I don't know. You got to ask me this later.
Okay. Found out that the moon was made of cheese because you took a bite.
But bro, more of the story is, I still play the shit out of Clone Hero.
Yeah.
Like 15 years later, I'm still playing the shit out of this game.
Yeah, I do not.
And not even to mention the rock bands too.
Yeah, the rock bands. I think if we did an episode about Rock Band, it would be a little redundant, but
it'd be very short. Like,
yeah,
because Guess who? Let me play Rock Band first.
Dale.
No, it was our buddy Josh. Because his cousins brought over the set, and that was the first time I ever played anything drum. And it was just literally just kick, snare, kick, snare, because it was easy, and like I couldn't even do that. Like it was too hard.
Yeah.
Because the fucking kick.
There's the coordination,
And God, I had a Guitar Hero set. I had a Rock Band set. Fucking, like, the friend group, me, Dale, and Jeremy, we went through like 3 of those goddamn things.
Yeah.
Because they kept breaking. Kept going to game. We went to Game Crazy like all the time, and the guy at the counter was like, "You guys here for new rock band set?" Like that's how many times we had to like buy like instruments and shit.
Game Crazy. You know what we got to do? I don't know if you've ever been to like a gaming cafe, but there is a gaming bar / cafe in Chicago called Ignite Gaming, and they, for those of you who are also interested, they have 2 rooms in the back where like. You walk in and they have like 3 different distinct sections. There's like the couch section where they have TVs and like couches and you can play fighting games or like co-op games, They have like the LAN party set up where it's like 6 computers in a row and they're like every computer has like Steam and you can play whatever game you want like on Steam. And then in the back, past the kitchen, where you can order food and stuff, 2 theaters with big ass projectors and a stage with Rock Band. And you could play Rock Band with a sound system and a projected screen, and you could just do a whole like 3-hour set. And you could like you get charged for like how long you reserve the room for. Or no, you get charged for being at Ignite for like specific hours, but you can like book the room for as long as you want.
Why are you just telling me about this now?
Well, because we're talking about Guitar Hero.
Oh my God,
yeah,
I would jump at the chance.
And they have like a bunch of DLC bought for it. I'm pretty sure it's Rock Band 4 or Rock Band 3, one of them. But yeah, man, Ignite Gaming. See you there. We're gonna go.
1v1 me. 1v1 me. Let's go.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, I don't know. Just talking about different ways that music has affected us today. It feels really full circle now that like we filmed episode 10 of our podcast, which is like nothing that I ever thought that we would do ever. So between podcasting and YouTube and recording music and playing out and doing these things, it's kind of crazy to kind of reflect on some of these first experiences with like playing music or like competing with one another or listening to the same artist and gaining different perspectives. I don't know, man.
Dude, funny enough, because Everlong was in Rock Band.
Yeah.
And it was like, because the yellow pad in Guitar Hero was for the hi-hat.
Oh
like
my God.
Always.
Yeah.
But for Rock Band, they put it on the red, so like all the way on the left. So it was like hi-hat here and snare here, because that's how you'd play it on a real set.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready for that. So when that came up, I actually failed it, and I was like, I can't do it. And that was like a legendary moment for like me and Josh.
I can't do it. I remember. Oh my God, that unlocked a memory that I forgot I had. Just you guys saying I can't do it over and over again in middle school. Jesus, man.
That's where that came from. Foo Fighters and Rock Band.
I can't do it.
It all connects.
It all connects. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Foo Fighters, and what? Not Niantic. That's Pokemon Go. Neversoft.
Neversoft and
Activision eventually.
Well, Activision like
just
put
distributed
it out, but
yeah.
I think Neversoft, Red Octane. I forget who makes Rock Band.
Yeah. Oh,
Harmonix.
Harmonix. Yeah,
that's what it was.
Thank you and the Foo Fighters for shaping us into the strapping young men that we are today.
Honestly, for real, Guitar Hero is the reason I think I play drums.
Yeah.
Like, it's the reason I play music.
Well, and the Foo Fighters, specifically The Best of You, was my goal as a singer and as a guitarist for a really long time, and I was like setting all of my accomplishments against that song and that band. So, I don't think there's anything that we could either of us could do to properly thank the powers that be for how much they contributed to our journeys. But I guess the only thing that we can do now is just get out there and do the thing and hope to inspire, other people to do the same thing. So check out our YouTube channels, our socials.
Check out Happy Foo Year.
Check out Happy Foo Year. Check out our album rankings. We're going to have our YouTube videos links in the description of the YouTube video. And check out my music. I have a song called High that David drummed on that was very heavily inspired by big stadium rock anthems from bands like the Foo Fighters and stuff like that. So listen to our journeys culminate in see them in actual tangible ways, like our videos and music and stuff. Follow us on social media if you want, and stay true to yourself, and be sure to tell the people in your life that you love them, and challenge them challenge them
Signing naked groupie's breast may be second nature to Slosh, but how do you think he'd manage pulling udders in Dairy Farm Hand Hero 3? You know where you are? You're in accounts payable, baby. You're gonna fail things in triplicate.
Good night.